Oh my gosh, that's so bright. Hydrated Honey V. Yo! What's up, bro? Didn't I meet you out in Italy? Right? Pretty sure? Italiano? Oh my gosh, that thing is bright, dude. Can't do it this way? No, my freaking kitchen's that way. Well, that kind of works. That kind of works. It's kind of bright. All right. Italiano. Hello. Rodrigo, what's up, dude? Cold-hearted Geo, let's go, dude. Let's go. We're getting the fam in. Caroline, request 2 to join. Accepted that. Caroline.
Hello.
Yeah. What's up? Caroline, you got a request to join. Hopefully Danielle's getting on too.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm trying to. What's up, you guys? Thanks for your patience. We're just getting a bunch of people in right now. We're trying something new.
What's up, Thomas's Instagram family?
I think we had someone from Italy. Not sure how.
Send a request, Caroline.
No, explain to her how to send the request.
Oh, there should, I don't know. I did it really quickly. There should be a button at the bottom when you join that says send request.
Isn't it with the camera with the plus?
That's possible. Yeah, I did it so.
Sheesh. Unconscious. It's an unconscious action now, dude.
Listen, I was just trying to get on here on time.
Oh, no, you're good. I'm just. Oh, here we go. Invite to join. There we go.
Good one.
Let's go. We got the trio here. That's a little trifecta that's going on.
Caroline.
Let's go. What's up? Cool. So, yeah, Danielle didn't reply, but I'm sure when she gets ready or on. So I just wanted to jump out here and kind of just start talking about the book that we're reading. I think The Power of One More is powerful for anybody in their life. Doesn't really matter what walk of life that they're in right now. And sorry, fam. Phone's blowing up. So yeah, I think it's just a powerful thing that a lot of people just really kind of maybe take advantage of or don't even like think about really. It's just the power of one more, and you can really add that to anything. So yeah, I really like the RAS thing. It's really been honed in. We've always known about it. So for the people that are joining, we're reading the book by edmylett. It's called The Power of One More. And he talks about something, it's called the RAS. A lot of us probably know about this, and we've heard this concept before where maybe like you want like a Ferrari, you know, or some type of car, or maybe you like a color a lot. I always see like the gunmetal gray since the Audi TTRS has came out with that. I'm always like, that's such a cool color. I want to get my car like that. So the RAS is just activating that inside of your brain, and then you're tracking that into your life unconsciously. So yeah. I thought that was just a powerful thing.
I just want to say really like RAS for people that don't know what that is. It's the reticular activating system. And essentially it's kind of like what is going on when we are thinking about something, and then we're trying to get something or manifest something, let's say, and it starts showing up in reality all the time. So I personally have always kind of known that intuitively, but I didn't know there was actually a scientific term for it. So this book has really blown my mind and just kind of proving that in words of like our brain just looks for those things that were always there before, but we just didn't notice.
Yeah, I love it. What what other takeaway did you like so far?
So far, I think like it's really about the sacrifice of who you're willing to become in the process of everything. You know, like looking at where you're at and what are you willing to sacrifice to get to where you want to go. And just adding that one more, what's the word? Like the one more mindset to everything that you do in life.
I like how he he talks about this. I think this is in the beginning. He talks about, so a lot of people say that your brain is unconsciously doing things, but I think we're in a point of time in the collective where a lot of people are conscious. It's actually your body that is unconscious to what your actions are. So a lot of people like know what to do, they think what to do, but their body, they don't put their body in motion to do those things. Like I've always known that working out is great for you, not for the physical physique or anything like that. It's more of a mental thing. And then now when I started doing it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually, there's a whole different side, because I was so pushed away from it. Like when I was growing up, we grew up in Orange County, California personally, and there's a lot of people that abuse steroids, and by doing that stuff for more of a look, more than like a mental thing. So I always had like a nasty like projection of working out and going to the gym. So it's crazy now that I do it. I'm like, I actually do it for my mental mind. It's not even about like the physical at all. The physical comes with it, of course.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got to do like the diet and be strict on certain things and all that. But even if you go to the gym for 30 minutes, you know, walk on the treadmill or whatever it is, it actually helps your brain a lot. So I like how he mentioned that. I was like, dang, yeah, you're right. My body is sometimes not wanting to do things that my brain is telling it to do.
Yeah, it's kind of the same for me. I think like going to the gym, you know, essentially like I did go into it for physical, you know, purposes, but I had no idea how much it would help my mental as well. And now that's why I go to the gym. Like I go to the gym for my mental health, and it literally helps you expand. And it was kind of like my first stepping stone too in to entrepreneurship in a weird way, because it taught me that I am so capable of doing really hard things, like build, yeah, like lifting heavy things, and like just mentally it helps you grow so much. So that was a really big one for me. So good point on that.
Yeah, he's always like, yeah, just, you know, it's the same. Everybody knows the do one more rep thing and all that stuff, but it's like, well, why don't you just read one more page?
Mm-hmm.
Or why don't you do one more Clark Kent? That's a new one, dude. What's up, Trip?
Dang.
Um,
I was going to
uh,
ask you guys, what do you think is the block for most people for allowing us to do that one more thing? Because the book talks about one more decision could change your life, one more action could change your life, right? One more moment, etc. So what do you think is our biggest block to taking that one more?
That is such a question. I think like in general, my view of it is like if you're not conscious of it, you're not able to take that one more step. So that's why like reading these kind of personal development books really expands your consciousness and keeps you going to do that one more thing.
Mm.
I think from my perspective, it's yeah, you have to have a vision for sure, but it always comes down to two things. From my point of view, is like it's either love or fear. Most people operate out of fear, because
Mm-hmm.
if you were operating from love, then you would do like, you would say hi to that person that might need it. Like a lot of people don't realize just literally saying hi to someone, how's it going, random strangers, like opening the door for people. I do that all the time. I always ask the workers, how's your day going, like all that. Like yesterday I was like rushing into the grocery store buying tomatoes to like get out of there. I'm like literally running to the register, and I like stop fully, like, hey, how's it going, you know. But I think a lot of people are scared and fear. Also too, what's happening is we've been programmed to not be outspoken. So if we like really take a huge step back and look at like, well, school is like, sit down, shut up, raise your hand before you can even speak or ask a question. So we're already programmed into like, wait, I don't know if I should do, you know, one more thing, or maybe like, should I ask the teacher this one more question? Like, I really don't get it, you know, like I think I need one more question answered, but it's like, I already asked 5 questions, like, and the whole class is staring at me and I can feel the energy and it's like awkward. And then like, now you're like hunching down, you know, and then like you see people walking with their head like forward. And so I think it comes down to like a fear, because for myself, I still deal with a lot of fear. I'm like, dang, should I go ask like one more person? Like, I just got rejected 10 times today. Should I go ask one more person? Like, I mean, should I do one more rep? Like, I don't know. Is my body going to give out? Am I going to pull a muscle? Is like the guy next to me that's way more yoked going to like laugh at me? I actually had this yesterday. I was fighting my fear because I was doing leg raises, and I'm short, first off. So it's like a mission for me to like grab the thing and like do leg raises. But this dude literally goes up there, grabs it, he was doing like this weird stuff. And he was like doing leg raises perfectly fine. I count his reps. And then like, as his legs are up, he's literally pulling his legs in at 10. And I'm like, dang, now I got to get up there and look like a weakling in front of everybody in the gym that you see, you know how it is in the gym. Like, everybody sees everybody. And I'm like, no, fight the fear, fight the fear, fight the fear. Like, nobody cares. Nobody's watching. Just go up there and do it. It's your own workout. Like, get out of your head, get out of your head, get out of your head. I'm like, okay, go. And I do it. And I actually did like the best reps that I've ever done. And I was like, dang, like, so I don't know. I could go ham on that, but I think it's, from my point of view, it's a fear thing. What about from your lens there, Caroline?
Well, I was just thinking, you know, I was tying it to entrepreneurship and why so many people don't take the entrepreneurial journey is because our fear is in our face all the time, every day. And another way to define being an entrepreneur is literally probably to say, well, I like come face to face with my fears every day, and I got to just, you know, go through it. I mean, it is no small task. And so I totally relate to what both of you are saying in that regard. And back to the whole bringing in the body consciousness thing. I mean, our bodies are so wise. We know this, right? If we just even look at ancient traditions and civilizations from all around the world, many wisdom traditions always get us into our body. Kind of Western, it's the Western world that is more heavily focused on the mind aspect. So remembering that mind-body connection is huge, because I think if we all listened to our bodies a whole lot more, we actually probably would be living more soul-aligned lives and wouldn't cause so much pain for ourselves. But how do we know what we don't know, right? Because of that programming you were talking about.
Dang, that's actually fire, because that was my whole, all of this is getting into my body and my emotions is a brand new thing for myself. For people that are tuning in, I wasn't like that at all. And so for the past, like, especially the past year, I've been trying to figure that out. As conditioning with anything in our life, it's like sitting down and feeling. And I started doing like an exercise where like an emotion would come up. And I try to like sit down and write it down and be like, what does this actually feel like? Like, I'm like, wait, this is like like I had to feel like, I'm like, wait, there's like different types of I know there's different emotions, but I think most people, just like you're saying, we're in such a technology based collective now, for sure. It's awesome that we're connecting like this, but I don't think a lot of people just sit down by themselves, turn off the Wi-Fi, turn off everything, and just like sit there and think, and especially feel. So yeah, I love that. I don't even like think about that. That's amazing.
Dropping solid.
Dropping the fire. Let's go.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, I can relate with that, where I've also been in the process of giving myself a lot of permission to feel my feelings and speak the way that I want to speak. And I feel like this book really touches on that a lot, and just getting into yourself and being the most powerful version of yourself that there is, like facing all those fears like Caroline was saying. I think, yeah, as an entrepreneur, like every single day we're doing something and so uncomfortable, and just embracing when you're not good at something yet, when you're still learning the skills, but instead, you know, instead of not doing it, we're actually going and doing it anyways. And from there, we're learning how to grow from there and expand and everything. So that's kind of my big takeaway on this book too.
Yeah, and the blessing is we don't have to do it alone, right? I mean, thank goodness for community and other like-minded people who are walking the journey as well, is that we actually do have support in the process. So thank goodness for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I always found that really hard as someone that broke out of, you know, the 9 to 5. I've always had an entrepreneur mindset and was an entrepreneur per se, but not 100% fully. And yeah, you found a collective thinking inside of a 9 to 5, but it was a very not fear-based. What's up, Enrique? But yeah, it basically like everybody is comfortable, so they're not stepping out of their comfort zone every day. I mean, you literally, and I say this all the time, and I said this at jobs because I always pick jobs that honestly they weren't that hard. I was doing a lot of drugs, I was doing a lot of like bad things where like I could literally do the job very easily where nobody knew what was going on. I crushed everybody, and it just like, but it was like all I had to do was like clock in, not make any mistakes. It wasn't very hard. They didn't tell us to read books, do personal development. It was always like, hey, you know, this is the next step, and maybe you'll get there if like someone quits. I was in banking, so it was like, oh, you had to wait till the guy that's been there for 20 years as a personal banker too in St. Clemente, like the guy's, you know what I mean, he's going to retire there. It's like, okay, well, I'm never going to get to that guy's position. You know what I mean? So it's like, but they never were like, oh, well, maybe you should read this type of book and learn how to manage people, or maybe learn to be a leader, or, you know, maybe like take this type of class that might help you. It was always like, oh, I don't know. It's just always like really negative talk. There wasn't a lot of like motivation, you know, managers. That's what I really learned about getting into a good, healthy community, was that there was actually a difference between a leader and then a boss. And although I've heard these terms, I never actually experienced it for myself until I got into this. And I also never experienced sobriety from leadership's point of view. So all of my jobs, I also came from mortgages. Most people do a lot of drugs, alcohol. It's a very like party scene type of things. And there was always managers managing like the floor of sales reps, but there was never like leaders trying to pull people up to their level and teaching them all the tricks, because they would still hold that back. I found that a lot in the corporate job, where with the community, you're not sharing all your secrets because you want all the employees to come to you because you have the secret sauce for maybe doing Excel faster, or you're the only one that can do an SOP. So like all the new bankers that like come in would like come to you for that. So now you look like the golden child. So the community was never about growing each other. It was always like an individual pretending to be in like this weird type of community per se, because obviously we all work for the same company. It's the same vision and diversity and all of that. So yeah, it is really different when you have community.
Yeah. And having an example too, because if we don't have anything to aspire to, we don't know what's possible, you know? And I had friends who used to say, friends of color who grew up saying, you know, there are no baby dolls that look like me. And so, you know, representation matters, right? And so the same is true here. We want to be able to see in someone else that which we seek to have for ourselves, so that we can grow into that and achieve that for ourselves. So So a huge gift too just is all the examples of leadership, and I'm super excited for the next book we're going to read too, which talks about, you know, being that leader.
Oh yeah, the one John Maxwell developed. Yeah, that was that's a whole like another conversation for sure. That's where I was getting hit in Wells Fargo, because I grew up playing soccer. So it's usually like a Hispanic, you know, dominant sport, usually, you know, per se, in Orange County, where I was just located. And yeah, like you can see that the difference for sure. That was a crazy perspective. Obviously I didn't play with dolls growing up, you know, this, you know, me admitting here. But yeah, that's a really interesting thing that you brought up for sure.
Same. I will definitely say, hop in there and say that community has been so key, because I've also always been an entrepreneur, but I've never had support, and I've never had a collective of people with the same vision that really actually like are helping me get to where I want to go. That's a completely new factor that's been brought in with community, and I do believe that that is a big factor in the key to success, is having community, having support, having people that have good intentions and are actually going to take action and helping you get to where you want to go.
100%. Yeah.
What else did you take away, Caroline, from what you've gone through so far?
Yeah, well, the part of the book that really spoke to me was that piece on worthiness, and that identity component. And it was the analogy that Edmylett gave about the temperature. And if it's always set at 75 degrees, if it's super hot outside, then the air is going to come on. If it's super cold outside, then the heat's going to come on. But we're always set at that temperature. So what would it be like if we changed the temperature, raised the temperature? And his whole, he was kind of saying what holds us back from doing that, from continually raising the bar and challenging ourselves, is that worthiness component. Because if we don't believe we're worthy, then we won't take that next step.
Oh yeah, that hit me hard, because I had a lot of challenge with that, because I went from comfort based. I've been in mortgages. It's literally commission based only. Like there were some where they do like a draw, but it's literally like commission based only. Whereas this, it's commission based only, but being an entrepreneur, it's way uncomfortable. Or is making up words. Super uncomfortable. So I always had to temperature check myself. Like that's why now I stay in like this like peak state as much as I possibly can. Obviously things knock me down, but yeah, I really like that analogy, and that I've been using that, but just being like present, you know, like always in the present, like seeing where you're at. But then yeah, like, whoa, being an entrepreneur, feeling worthy of that, because we weren't taught that stuff. We weren't taught, you know, credit. We weren't taught, you know, to save your money, to invest your money. I always say this now and I didn't think about this at all. And a lot of us went to school and we had career days. I never had someone show up to a career day and be like, hey, I'm a sales rep, you know, and I didn't get a college degree, you know, and I out-earned doctors and lawyers and all that stuff. So don't think that the path is only X, Y, Z, what they're teaching you. There's a whole different life out there, business and all that, which is even crazier when you look at, because the world evolves around people innovating new businesses, and they had to feel super worthy, because it's like Thomas Edison, he failed. He's like, yeah, I didn't fail 10,000 times. I've just figured out 10,000 ways that didn't work. So it's like, if he didn't think that he was like worthy of figuring out these inventions, you know, then we wouldn't even be here, and these bright lights that are blasting my eyes wouldn't be on, you know. Maybe someone else figured it out. But yeah, worthiness is hard. I think that's a big struggle, which then I feel like it's like worthy and it's like fear, because then you're like scared that you're doing this because so many people aren't doing it, and then you see so much success, and then you're like, wait a second, like I know friends and family that like aren't doing this and I want to help them, but they don't feel like they could do this. And you're like, well, no, like you can do this because I did it. Like we grew up the same parents, same location, same environment, same whatever was going on, but like you're not feeling that you're worth that. So yeah, that's fire.
Definitely, that's fire. I completely agree in the fact that like everything really does come down to love and fear in the simplicity of it. And I think like there's so many ways to kind of train ourselves to get into that worthiness and train our matrix. You'll say that, you know, and one of those ways is like by visualizing what you want, whether it's like meditating or having your vision board, or, you know, that's something that they talked about in the book that really hit me hard too. Cause it's like, we just need to be every single day, like journaling, writing down everything that we want, visualizing it. And, you know, that's been a really big one. That's, you know, I'm working more on that. I used to meditate every single day for like at least an hour, and I really need to implement that back. But going into worthiness, it's just, you know, it goes straight back to fear and getting out of that mindset, being present, and getting clear on your vision and exactly what you want, I think is a really good place to start.
What words of encouragement would you have for anybody who's tuning in or going to watch the replay in terms of getting in touch with those dreams? Like, because I feel like there is a disconnect, like people, and myself included. I mean, it took me ages to bet on myself, you know, and I think that's a common thing we hear among people who take the entrepreneurial journey is like, one day, instead of betting on everybody else, I just freaking bet on myself, you know? So what, if anybody's struggling in that gap of here's where I am and here's where I want to be and how can I achieve my dreams, what words of encouragement do you all have for someone who might be walking through that?
Definitely. I think that I would definitely give the advice that every single thing in your life leading up to the moment of entrepreneurship is going in some way, and there's no accident there. That's been a big one for me, where I'm able to utilize everything else that I've done in my life and kind of work it in my favor, even though I didn't always see it that way. And also just having a relentless belief in yourself that you can do it. That's been my biggest thing, is like it starts with, it's amazing when other people start to believe in you too, but like it starts with you, and just developing that relentless resilience, that everything that you know that you are capable and it's inside you, and using that energy to just keep going.
Jeez. Yeah, mine would be is for myself. So for someone that was watching this, I would give the advice of like, start something on the side while you're currently working, so you have the income. So you work and you become an average employee and become above average to build your dream, and you could do it part-time. So that's what I did, and that's why I did it, because I was like, wait a second, I'm getting paid to prospect, my bills are covered, I don't have to stress, I can do this from my house, I have a community that's going to help me. And then the other big thing, because I didn't ever get this inside, I actually got this from two people. My social studies, my history teacher, Mr. Wirtz, in middle school. I'll never forget this guy. And Bijan, the only manager after 10 years of being at Wells Fargo that actually believed in the employees and followed through with everything that he had said. He literally pulled us in one by one. So my point where I'm going with that is use someone else's belief in you, because my good friend Giordano believed in me, even though I did believe myself. I had a really big ego, honestly, is like where I knew I would crush anything. Like literally I'll crush anybody and anything. I just say that because I know it. But I used his belief in me to then just keep pushing me and pushing me and pushing me and pushing me till now I have my own unshakable belief in myself. Then now I'm transferring that into other people, because everybody has the potential. Most people don't activate their superpower or their potential.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there's this illusion that we're meant to be good at it right from the start, right? That we're, you know, and it's like, well, we can't compare our day one to someone else's year 10 or what have you, you know? And as you were saying that, Thomas, because that's exactly my thing too, is just we need those people in our lives who believe in us before we necessarily have that for ourselves. And if you think about just the process of us developing throughout our lives, you know, we go through these different developmental stages, and when we come out of the womb, we are reliant 100% upon our caregivers. I mean, we would not be here if we didn't have, you know, caregivers to sustain us in that very vulnerable period of life. And so we get to honor all of those phases, right? We don't yell at babies and condemn them for not being able to walk yet. You know, how dare you crawl, right? Instead, it's like, yay, you're crawling. How awesome. We're celebrating these milestones, you know? So for anybody watching or tuning in, just know that it is possible to find people who have walked the walk, who believe in you, and who are there to literally allow you to lean on them until you can stand on your own, because there's power in testimony. And I think each one of us could probably say that we've had people be that for us, which enabled us to then step into our own. So what a gift.
Yeah, he actually goes into that later on, and I didn't think of those analogies. That's what Daniel G has really helped me understand, that everything's an analogy. And it helps a lot of people understand that. And Edmylett was talking about that. He's like, yeah, with babies, when they fail so many times before they start walking, but every time they like get up and do like maybe like a half step and fall, the mom and dad's like, oh my gosh, it's so good, like keep going, keep going. And I think society as a whole doesn't really do that. It's more like, oh no, that's wrong. Oh no, you shouldn't say that. Or no, that's not how I did it, and all that. And so a lot of people don't want to do that one more action because they're afraid that, you know, someone might tell them, oh no. Like, that's why I think entrepreneurship isn't as popular as it really is, even though it's a massive, massive thing. It runs the whole world. That's how our founding father, like we could go into like that whole thing. But the reality is like how he talked about that is like, yeah, congratulate yourself on those things. Give yourself grace and all that. A lot of people, I went through this big time where I was like doing all this work and reading books and, you know, getting all these no's and all of these things. But then the reality was I was growing so much little by little by little. And it was just compounding day after day after day after day. And then like after months, and then after a year and then 2 years, I was like, whoa, like, you look back and you're like, wow, I've actually done a lot, even though you might see it in like tangible dollars or whatever it may be that you're doing in your life.
Yeah, it's really all about the person that you become in the process. And that's the biggest thing that I've had to step back and understand, because it's like I see, you know, something and I'm like, oh, I want to go straight there. And you know, I had no patience before this. And there's so many things that you have to really like your income reflects the person that you become. So I think that's really bringing it back to Caroline with everything. Like every person that I bring into my business, like they are my new baby, even though it's okay for me to still be in the process of growing myself and becoming a leader myself and all that stuff. But I nurture them and treat them, you know, as if they are brand new and they don't know anything, because they are. And just really guiding them in the right direction, and, you know, giving them assignments, not letting them fail, you know, as much as, you know, I've already made many little mistakes that, you know, other people avoid. So, you know, there's so many things that it's just really good. And it's really just, you know, you know, your journey to winning and whatever success looks like for you.
Love it.
Yes.
Good stuff. Any other topics from the book that you guys can think of?
Let me see.
I know I went to like go look at the chapters. I was like, oh wait, I'm on my phone. If not, I mean, that was fire, you guys. Like that was heat. We definitely need to make this a routine thing. I'm stoked that we did it. So, I mean, we could end it right there. Honestly, that was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Cool.
Looking forward to next time.
Yeah, let's go. Everybody tuning in, thank you so much. You know, if you guys do want to join us with the book club, just DM any one of us. We'll send you the link there. And we read books every single month, all day. So I'm fired up for everybody that tuned in, and I hope you guys all have an amazing day.
Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in.
Peace.